February the 24th? Oh my goodness. 17. Like driving a car. That's a fake map. Fake. Sorry. It's fake. There you go, that's better. Okay. So that's fake. And BP Earthwatch is using it for some reason in his latest Fukushima video. And so I'm really confused. He's about to hook up with Pastor Paul Bengali, BP Earthwatches. This guy is from Discovery News. It's fake. They faked it, right? They come out and then they said that's a fake one, and anybody thinks there's a fallout is an idiot. There was all kinds of models of real maps showing the radioactive fallout. Wouldn't have been hard. But they elected to come out and try to deceive you and ridicule you. That's what BP Earthwatch has done. Unbelievable betrayal, yeah? It's a betrayal, what BP Earthwatch is doing. He professes to be worried about Fukushima, but shows you these fake maps. But yet he can show you a map of the solar system, maps of all around, from all the agencies of earthquakes. Every map, all the time, boom, right on time, right away. The first guy out there with the maps. But he doesn't know that's fake. Are you kidding me? Do you think this is a game? He does. It's shocking. Now he's going to hook up Pastor Paul Bengali, is it? He's doing the same thing, put out Fukushima's killed the Pacific Ocean, and then try to blame it on the rapture. Instead of saying it's Fukushima's is not the rapture. That's not what God was talking about in the Bible. At all. So why are people doing that? Is there demons? These people are like friggin' demons. They profess to be there to help you, to guide you, and to give you strength. And they come out and show you shit like this, which is contempt. It's contempt for you and contempt for them and their loved ones and a hatred for the 8 million species on this planet. That's why you would do something like that, yeah? Just saying. I'm not going to mince any words to people that know better. I'm not going to mince words to adults. I'm not going to bite my tongue because they allegedly profit in the name of the cloth, and they are scripture-bound people and are supposed to be honest when they're completely deceptive and deceitful and disingenuous, not willing to do the moral and ethical thing. This is live footage. A footage from allegedly the Unit 4 building in Reactor 4 building in Japan. And this is what it looked like.
Good evening, this is NH News Newswatch 9 for Friday, May 20th. On the 7th day after the March 11th quake, self-defense forces sprayed water on the nuclear power reactor in Fukushima. Images were broadcast throughout the world. The Fukushima Daiichi plant was no longer able to cool down its reactors and was facing a potential meltdown. Today we talked with the actual crew that was working to cool the plant. It's the first time details of the operation are being released to the public.
So they flew in to dump water on the plant because it looked like this, kind of, well, before they tore it all down. But would you fly in to dump water on that? Because that's allegedly the same building. You got Berkeley professor was comparing ingestion of the radioactive iodine, which is actually uranium, plutonium, americium, neptunium, all the nasties. Iodine is just a tracer. Got called out for it. This is not radioactive iodine, okay? The iodine disappeared after 8 days. It's not cesium, it is uranium, plutonium, because that's what the reactors run upon. 12 million yen to censor Twitter. Right away. They come out and try to destroy anybody. Right away, your friends and families who work for the nuclear industry were out there trying to murder anybody that was trying to warn people to take precautions. The people in the nuclear industry were full-time, hardcore, in cohorts with people like Twitter, Google, Facebook, and your local government, media, universities. UC Berkeley testing was 200 to 300 times less sensitive. EPA detected uranium-238. Reactors don't run on uranium-238. So why did they say that, I wonder?
I'm going to talk about radioactivity because I'm going to explain what the significance was of the releases.
Here's Robert.
I have to talk about the average dose to people in the United States.
Budnitz, N-I-T-Z, B-U-D.
The average person, you
B-U-D, N-I-T-Z, B-U-D, N-I-T-Z. So here he is talking about radiation from Fukushima, calling it medical, rock, soil, radon, cosmic, human body, consumer products. This is a professional, an academic. I'll let it play out.
Not counting medical radiation, we all get between 200 and 300 millirem.
Medical is man-made.
Millirem is a unit of radiation dose. And a lot of it comes from the rocks and the soil that we live on. So it varies a lot from, if you're in the Berkshires, you
don't get a dose from natural stuff. Your body is acclimated to it through genetic superior selection. It's called homeostasis. You can't get any more natural stuff than your body has, isn't it? Your body regulates it. It's outright lie. Universities should freak out and take these degrees away from them. Justice system should have prosecuted them 50 years ago because you've been at it that long.
And if you're along the coast. And there's some cosmic radiation, and if you move to Denver, you get a lot more.
Just shut your fucking pie hole. Move down here so I can get a shot at your fucking head. So he's saying they're picking all this because it's like a banana and a potato chip and walking in sunshine, yeah? This is an academic, right? That has solely sold Robert Budniks. No different BP Earth Watch. Out there fucking showing people pictures of a reactor or of a tsunami when he knows bloody well that's the worst thing you can do. Health Canada come out and stabbed everybody in the back. That's your government, Health Canada. Can't be trusted. You don't want to be having barbecues with these people. These are fucking vicious thugs that done that. Number 4 caught on fire. Did number 4 caught on fire today? Well, according to the BBC, it looks like that. Does that look like anything caught on fire? Or do you think all these bags came out of a building like this? That they're saying? That's what they say it looks like, but in reality, that's what it looks like, and these people are already dead. Number 4, collapsed. Does that look like it's gonna fucking collapse to anybody? Huh? That looks like it's gonna, because that is number 4, but they even rolled out videos saying that that is the interior of this. You got BP Earth Watch and Paul Bengali out there with massive numbers of people, and they're fleecing everybody, fleecing the fuck out of everybody. Haven't showed them a single articulating point in every one of their fucking videos. They don't swear, and they say Jesus all the time. God bless, so they're good people. I swear because I'm sick of these fucking monsters, these degenerates, these fucking traitors. There's no language harsh enough. TIPCO begins critical work. Does that look like it's fucking critical work? Calm down, Dana. Mind your own fucking business. TEPCO began critical work on unloading Fukushima Daiichi Unit 4 spent fuel pool. That's the reply for anybody who tells me to calm down. Tell them mind their own fucking business. Go back to the pop songs and stupid, idiotic mainstream medias. Here they were, mainstream media, the reporter, so stupid, he got... Let him do it.
Possible, and now Japan considering moving this up to a 6.
I screwed
Well,
up.
the utility is the laughing stock within scientific circles because obviously this accident has exceeded 3 Mile Island. At 3 Mile Island, we had one reactor sustaining perhaps 90% core damage, but very little escaped into the environment. There was no breach.
90% damage and no breach? Oh, that's a lie, but let's go.
Here we have 3 raging meltdowns in progress, 1 spent fuel pond open to the air, hydrogen gas explosions, any one of which already exceeds 3 Mile Island.
And Dr.
so
Copley,
obviously we should be level 6.
Level 6, you point out, and we saw those eerie images just yesterday morning here of the ghost towns created near the Fukushima plant. I mean, are we looking at a potential Chernobyl situation where an entire region of Japan would be empty for years to come?
Let's hope not. Let's hope they bring it under control. But if it goes to a full-scale evacuation of all personnel, it means that firefighters are no longer putting water onto the cores. That's the only thing preventing a full-scale meltdown at 3 reactor sites. Once they
evacuate it,
then we pass the point of no return.
and that's the point of no return. You're looking at it, blew up, caught fire, detonated, blew up, caught fire, melted down, 30 million one-ton bags, all the lawyers they can drag out, pretending it looked like that, but sending in the homeless and the destitute and the victims of society.
Of how people...
Now, after Fukushima, this guy was rolled out. This is Dr. Raymond Gilmedy. Raymond Gilmedy killed beagle dogs and beagle puppies for 35 years. Here's one of his studies, 144 beagle dogs, beagle puppies. Yeah, puppies. They all died within 5 years. And Gilmedy has produced in excess of 94 peer-reviewed studies killing beagle dogs and beagle puppies. Yeah, puppies. Little bastards. And he killed all those little bastard dogs, thank goodness, because they're vicious dogs, obviously, needed to be killed. Because Dr. Gilmedy is a fine, upstanding citizen for killing all those beagle dogs and puppies, yeah?
How people think that they're protecting themselves by going off and getting KI, but...
Now, this is after Fukushima. They rolled him out.
KI being potassium iodide. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to do them any good.
Why not?
Because here in New Mexico, we're not going to get exposed to any radioiodine.
Really?
Dr. Gilmay has researched radioactive respiratory health for 4 decades in New Mexico.
New Mexico. Yeah, Loveless Respiratory Research Institute, and all he do is kill beagle dogs and beagle puppies. How interesting, they're interviewing him out on the lawn instead of in there where all the puppies are dying without painkillers, because that would screw up. These are monsters. They rolled him out, right, to say that that kind of stuff is not real. Yeah? But you're not gullible, are you? Go to BP Earth Watch and praise Jesus. Go bury your head. Somebody tell you to praise Jesus. Like, it's the stupidest thing imaginable, but people are doing it en masse. They're fleecing everybody. Right? To take away the donations from real people like me. See? You roll out these people, let them fucking go out and rip off everybody, so those people don't end up coming here and finding somebody who's actually doing the work, right? And help them. That's what it's all about. That's why BP Earth Watch exists. He doesn't cover Fukushima. He covers earthquake, solar system. He's not even religious. Right? But everybody fell for it. Now Paul Bengali, Pastor Paul, is going to have him up there. It's like the stupidest fucking planet imaginable. It really is. We lost the planet because people are so gullible and because there's monsters, true monsters in our midst. March 21st, isotopes were everywhere. Paul Bengali. Oh, it's rapture. Send me some donations. I'll pray for you. You got any idea how many times he said those words? I'll pray for you. To me, it's so ludicrous because when you go see what they're doing, it's obvious. If you're religious, you're not allowed to call them out. If you're religious, you're not allowed to be assertive. If you're religious, you're not allowed to make a stand, apparently, because these people operate with impunity. No one calls them out. Right? They should have, like Pastor Paul Bengali should have his neck chummy taken away from him and be defrocked. He doesn't deserve to be a pastor. He's not being honest. He's being deceptive. He's trying to equate it with the Bible when he knows it's got nothing to do with the Bible. Yeah, but Dana swore, so we're not going to listen to him. Right? That's the game. It's despicable, man. Like if he was living here, I'd go confront him with a camera. I'd stick it to him, and we would end his game in a heartbeat. Trust me.
Well, I don't think that it's a clear-cut policy, but there is a long tradition within the nuclear industry in Japan
this is right after,
hiding or at least
This is right after the accident. I'll just adjust that volume. I'm freaking screwing up.
Twisting or misinterpreting the evidence. One example is raising it to 5.
Now, a couple of days after the accident, they're talking about raising the level to 6.
It's been 4 for a long time.
You've seen the clip before from NBC.
Which was the level of 3 Mile Island, where there was nuclear radiation. But
why did they spray in that building, I wonder? I'm trying to wrap my mind around that one.
No nuclear material released into the environment.
What the frick is going on there?
Massive amounts of nuclear material, huge radiation.
Anybody in the comments section know what that was?
Grudgingly, is it raised to 5, and of course, most people believe it should be 6.
You got multiple reactors detonated. And the nuclear industry has no intention of raising it to a 5, let alone a 7, without a real fight. And they're going to roll out lawyer after lawyer. Here's what
contains plutonium. Plutonium is the most toxic chemical known to science.
Let me set this up. So the fact they found the iodine 131, 132, the cesiums, these are tracers. That's the 2 biggest tracers they look for. The 4 biggest ones, really. And so then that meant plutonium was there. See, I'm going to adjust his volume. I don't know what's going on with my volume shit this morning. Let's try it again.
It contains plutonium. Plutonium is the most toxic chemical known to science. A speck of plutonium, a millionth of a gram, could cause cancer if it's ingested. And
that's before Caldecott got out there and said the same thing.
So this has to be looked at very carefully, because if there is a full abandonment of the reactor site, if they abandon ship, we could be in free fall.
And we are. That's what happened. They abandoned it, yeah?
Everything, it all depends upon the amount.
Now, this is Dr. John Neal, after release in New Mexico from the waste repository. It's not a leak. It was a friggin' big plumes, came out of there for a couple of days straight. They abandoned it for 10 days. They claimed it was a truck fire. You don't abandon 55 football field caverns because of a truck fire that went out the first few hours. It was only the back tires caught on fire that the pictures they showed. Right? We covered this extensively. But they rolled out a sitting professor.
Dr. John Nail, a professor of chemistry at Oklahoma City University, is not very concerned either. And even healthy foods aren't 100% healthy.
Most people will get more radiation exposure from eating bananas.
Pow! Right in the fucking mouth, man. Right? No one's going to arrest him for it. That's what he's doing there. It's illegal, I would imagine, somewhere, some book. If I had 1,000 people donating $10 a month, we'd launch a lawsuit to take away his degree in a heartbeat. All of these people, we would go after them legally immediately. Each month, pick out a couple of them, launch investigations against their credentials and legal, what's the word for it? We go after them legally to get their degrees taken away from them. That's one of the few things we can do. The plume forecast for North America and Europe, this is France, but here's people like Fox News and Coulter Now, Ann Coulter come out and just lied immediately.
Has a new column out today about the nuke situation in Japan, and here she is. The column is entitled "A Glowing Report on Radiation."
Why is she laughing? Why is she laughing about that?
Glowing radiation,
right, laughing again. Glowing. And Bill with his condescending ha-ha voice.
Very good.
Very good.
But you are not down on radiation poisoning.
She doesn't know nothing about it. She says it's good for you. This is what she says.
Well, it's not me. I'm citing a stunning number of physical...
No, but she could have went out and cited the other side and said there's a lot of supporting evidence. In fact, there's an incredible, inconceivable, unbelievable amount of supporting evidence shows that every dog died in every study for 70 years. No dog has ever, or animal, ever has survived without being dramatically affected by even the tiniest exposures to man-made ionizing radiation. She could have said, this is why we got terrorist laws, and this is why we have waste repositories we're trying to build, is because it's dangerous. No, she took the road that that kind of radiation could be good for you because she read it somewhere else. See? That's not journalism. That's not being a human. That's a public relation firm. That's saying, I'm not going to fact check anything they said. I'm going to go tell my audience the same story because they're part of the crew I want to support. I'm not going to find out if they're telling the truth, though. I'm not going to, and Bill O'Reilly can't fact check what she says. I'm not going to play it because it's despicable. 20 million particles per liter. Does it rain by the liter? Do you think that was the smallest number? You would be wrong. There's also numbers of 220 million. 55 of these atoms, in each atom is a becquerel. It's a particle, in this case, is radiated. Now, iodine, right? You're supposed to have, the institutions are immediately supposed to say tracer. But that is a tracer. 20 million particles of tracers. But they didn't. They called it 20 million as if that's all that was there. As if that was what the reactors ran on. But the reactors run on uranium. Iodine is a byproduct of uranium. It meant uranium was there in many, many times more amount because there's much. Iodine is one of 12,000 isotopes that are produced by the uranium-235 and the plutonium-239, the fission products that you're using in it. So the Norwegian Institute for Air Research was forced to give up modeling because they were demonized, and we had to contend with people like this coming out and saying that that was fake, which it is, and that these didn't exist. Instead of saying that's fake, here's the real model from the different institutions worldwide, which was easy to do, they elected Discovery News. They're still doing it. They put out another video last week making fun of anybody concerned about Fukushima again. There's not a single media, not a single journalist on the planet, not a single university, not a single academic, not a single sitting government official out there on our side. Every one of them are there ready to murder you or me or anybody else that says any different. They're allowed to do that. They'll get 1 million views, no problem. I'm lucky to get 1,000. Lucky to get 500. Lucky to get 100. Tokyo, rain caused 29 million becquerels per square meter. And you're going to move people back in. Well, not yourselves, but you want everybody else to move back in so you can pretend it didn't happen, like it's going to go away, like the leukemias, breast cancers, and Alzheimer's, dementia, and autism, and diabetes, and heart, liver, lung, respiratory is not going to show up. You shouldn't be hung, right? Is that what you're saying? You don't think you're guilty of a crime? You don't think you're guilty of a hideous mass murdering crime? You don't think that we shouldn't fucking despise you? We shouldn't hang you publicly for what you got done? You were wrong. That will never change. You will always be an evil, despicable person that covered anybody that covered this up. These people will always be monster. He will always be a monster forever. That will never change now after what he done. Because he is not naive. He's not gullible. He's not stupid. He's not ignorant. He's a monster. Anybody who hides this is a monster. There's no ifs, no buts. You don't come out and put together these presentations for something new. You put it to cover it up. Because you're a monster. And you hang out and live and walk and breathe with the monsters. You are a monster, yeah? There's no middle ground. You're a monster. Radioactive rain caused 130 schools in Korea to close. But the rain in California had 10 times more, and they wouldn't even tell the children. They wouldn't tell the parents. They wouldn't tell the community. They wouldn't say, thank you for 20 or 30 years of the EPA supporting us. The time has come for us to do our job. No, they went around, turned off the EPA, turned off the Geiger counters, the radiation detecting equipment. The models were showing up, and the models were based upon just a couple of days' releases. They weren't based upon detonations. And Paul Bengali and people like fucking BP Earthwatch and the rest of the pricks out there that are fucking everybody over and destroying people like me with their nonsense, with their rapture bull fucking shit. Instead of saying this is man's. This is a handful of people done this to us. This wasn't the human experience. They lied for 70 years. The lies are well known for 70 years. For 70 years, they told us these lies so nuclear could exist, so this could happen. How the fuck is that a rapture? How did we cause that? How is that our fault when a handful of people done this to us? Oh, no, Dane, it's the rapture. But they lied to us for 70 years. It would have never existed if you fucking would make a stand. BP Earthwatch and Paul Bengali and the rest of you fucking maggots, parasites up on our planet who are out there feeding upon the masses that are in fear instead of helping them and guiding them. You're out there fucking deceiving them. California iodine probably double or triple what we reported. EPA, radioactive iodine in America exceeds the containment. Unpublished maps by Canadian government fucking hid away. Hot spots around the coastline, don't worry about it. Nuclear policy experts striking. Well, they come out and covered it up, right? They come out and mocked anybody. They come out and try to humiliate everybody that said, hey, is that real? Can we get some documentation? They made fun of everybody. They're still doing it. And it's just a handful of corporations doing it to you. Right? It's the same fucking people over and over in the nuclear industry. It's not a huge bunch of people at all. You got a bunch of monsters who knows exactly what they're doing, and they're laughing about it. They're yucking it up while everything dies. They think it's a joke. They're loving it. And you won't support me and give me the ability to come out and fucking gut these pricks? Fucking idiots on this planet. It's inexplicable the EPA shut down Fukushima radiation monitoring. It's inexplicable. It's murder. It's sedition. It's contempt for the 8 million species and their own selves and their own families and their own loved ones, their own friends and their own neighbors, their own parents and aunts and uncles and cousins and nephews. Total contempt for everybody that might come in contact with these people. New York Times. Contributor. Not journalist, not reporter, not science department, but contributor. Confirms California rainwater 181 times the drinking water standard. But you don't see the word tracer. You don't see the words extrapolating. One iodine, there's 30 times more, 133. And that stuff ionizes and radiates your thyroid glands 9 times more effective. There's no extrapolating that the reactors run on uranium. Iodine is the tracer. You look up iodine, it's gone in 8 days. Right? I know people person after person that done it and said, oh, well, it's gone in 8 days. I looked it up. I said, yeah. But guess what? The reactors don't run on it. That's a byproduct. It's like smoke. When your house burns down, you walk past it a week later, you still smell the fucking smoke. You smell that stench, yeah? But your house burnt down a week ago. EPA will no longer do their fucking job. That's what you're seeing there. Now, fuck you. Wait, now, we gave you the money, the authority, the equipment to tell us, to warn us, and there was nothing to do for decades, and then you fucked us. And we're supposed to covet you or put our faith in you for somewhere in the future every day? We're not supposed to despise you, want to get rid of you, want to prosecute you fucks, you cowards, you traitors, you idiots. We're in so much fucking trouble. BPR, Ross, don't worry about it. Worry about the solar system. Worry about the earthquake. Don't worry about the real issue. Paul Bengali, just put your faith in Jesus. Send me a donation. I'll read your prayer on PayPal. Have we lost our fucking minds? Have we lost our credibility as a human species, as somebody that cares, or somebody that covets, or somebody that's trying to do the moral and ethical thing? Yeah. Radnet monitors were shipped out. EPA. Iodine in the rainwater. Once again, iodine. But because you made it this far, then that means you know that that's not what we're worried about. Which we are. It's a fission product. And if you got exposed to that, that means you got exposed to hundreds of radioactive isotopes at the same time. From the same place. Iodine is the tracer. We can't just give up and shut everything off and put our hands over our fucking eyes and pretend nothing happened. And just wait for the end. What are you, stupid? If you go out and your child is playing in traffic and all these cars are going to come, are you going to yell at your kid to get out of the way? Are you going to get out of the way? Try to get them out of the way? You can't see it or smell it. You protect your children your whole life. Some predator's going to kidnap them and use them for sex. Entire life, guarding your children like the worry hens and roosters and everything. But yet you fill them full of GMO. You fill them full of the pharmaceuticals instead of Mother Nature's cures, which is just really good food. You give them all called candy and sugar and aspartame they want. The pacifying because you're too fucking lazy to do your job. Be a good parent. You're too caught up in your own little stupid fucking world that you think you're... What? You're too good to take care of your child and do the right fucking thing? Oh, bring them to the doctor and get x-rays just in case. Because you've been sucked into this world and you believe it and you won't leave it because that would mean you were wrong and you were wrong. I had to admit I was wrong. Lots of people out there got to admit they were fucking wrong. It's your turn. Because if you don't, we're going to lose the planet a lot quicker. Concerns about the rain on the coast? The parents weren't concerned about the rain. They were concerned their children wasn't getting enough GMO. Enough fucking Prozac in their diet so they wouldn't bother them when they were fucking around on Facebook. Because they've been engineered to be that way. And they like it. And they're not going to leave it. Even though there's an event, don't matter. If the media come out and said, Fukushima's here, you got to eat healthy, you got to do this, you got to do that, they'll come right on board because they're indoctrinated. Media could never do that because that would eventually they would look back and say, well, fuck, that means media was lying to us the whole time. Right? They got themselves dug in a hole and they can't come out now and say. That's why people like BP Earthwatch and Paul Bengali are so important. It's because they're not media. They're supposed to come out and tell you the difference. Instead, they're playing a game. And now that they played the game, they can't go back and tell you the difference because you'll realize that they were playing a game all the way up until now. So they got to keep the lie alive so you don't understand they're fuck-ups, that they're vultures, that they're parasites, that they found their niche and they can't change it. They can't tell you the truth. They can't be honest. They can't work for the future because that would mean they would have exposed their passes, their history of what they got done, how they wasted your time, how they manipulated, how they showed you fake maps. Even now, 6 years later, it's shocking, man. 6 years later, BP Earthwatch is still showing people that fucking map there. 6 years later. Stupid fucking piece of shit. Stupid bag of shit. You fucking idiot, buddy. He used to come over to my site too. He's trying to suck people off my site over to his. Pricks. 80 times amount of iodine 131 fission product allowed in drinking water. Official has no explanation. No warning. That meant all your house pipes were contaminated with uranium, plutonium, americium, neptunium for thousands and millions of years. The evidence is overwhelming for everything I'm showing you that these people are completely out of control. So we get lie after lie, manipulation, deception, rain out of hot particles. This is Gunderson, who also tells you, I'll get the video and play it for you. Then you get a load of this. This is Gunderson coming up. And it's so friggin' hard to do anything. I become this person now. I'm so cynical. I'm so fucking hateful now of these people. I have so much contempt for these creatures. I want fucking revenge. I don't care about anything else at this stage. I want revenge on all these pricks, all these traitors, all these monsters.
Old TEPCO video. And Tokyo Electric had gone into the Unit 3 fuel pool just once.
No, you can't
Remember
go
that
in
Unit
there.
3 is the...
That's Unit 3 behind me. You can't get in Unit 2, which is still intact. Doesn't look anything as bad as that. That pull up in the corner doesn't exist. Ernie's lying to you.
Is the reactor that's blown to smithereens.
Blown to smithereens, but they're gone in there.
The video showed a lot of damage. But Ian...
Listen, he made those assemblies up there for 70 nuclear power stations. Do you think he doesn't know that the fucking fuel pool is gone? You really believe that for 1 second? Do you? Why are you promoting him?
The Unit 4...
It's Fair Winds. This is Ernie Gunderson. That's the fuel pool you're looking at where I got his video sitting. It's just software to give you it. Now, as this video expands back, I'm going to jump out of it. Remember, the fuel pool, where you see Fair Winds right there, that's the fuel pool where the reactor cores are missing. But watch what happens.
Was damaged twice. It was damaged by all of the earthquakes that occurred. And it was also damaged by a series of explosions over the first week or two of the accident. So the building is structurally weakened. Now, Tokyo Electric's acknowledged that. They went in May and June of last year.
Right, which is a lie. You can't go in there. Nobody's gone in there. You don't come back out. You die right away. Even the fucking robots can't go in there. Ernie?
Just more than a year ago. And put an enormous number of extra structural supports directly under the fuel pool to keep...
Which is a fucking lie. Dina, I'm on a hard case sometimes. I'm getting a little bit excited sometimes. God's going to strike me down. I'm wrong. I have faith. You know, I grew up with a very religious background, right? With a very religious background. And I had 4 of my friends were Catholic, and all 4 of them were molested by the priest. And so I kind of lost my faith, you know, along the way. That doesn't mean I'm not spiritual. Doesn't mean I'm not religious in my own way. It just means I don't see those people in the churches, the local churches and institutions, as the religious entity that I've read the Bible 7 times at least. I grew up in a time when there's no such thing as internet, where there's no libraries, where there's no automobiles even today. And the Bible's one of... So, like, I'm familiar with the entire... I've read the Torah and the Talmud. I read many of the doctrines years ago. But I was never one of these people who trusted the church, because I've seen so many people get molested and had their lives and commit suicide. And I become despondent about that. But it doesn't mean that I'm not religious. It doesn't mean that I don't have that spiritual wonderment of how could we all exist. It really doesn't. And like in every sense of the word, I am a religious person. I do say God bless you. I do have that tendency. I did grow up in that environment. I don't see it as bad or wrong, or left or right or center or far left or far right or extreme left or extreme right. I see a lot of people that utilized it for the betterment. I seen a lot of people that were degenerates and were able to change their lives around. And whether that was just a ploy or not, at least they changed their life around. And I've seen communities that have existed for hundreds of years where I'm too based upon the Bible and not being abusive to each other, and the community lived in harmony. I've seen that. I know it's true. I know it's real. But I've seen the abomination sides of it. I know that it's used in war constantly. I know Israel uses it to justify getting rid of 5 million Palestinians because God told him they are the chosen ones. I don't agree with that. I think it's a manipulation in so many ways. I would have to make hours of footage to articulate it. And I have that documentation gathered up. What I am saying is that when people like Paul Bengali, Pastor Paul, and everybody knows if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, you know who I'm talking about, and people like BP Earthwatch, who originally come across as concerned citizen, but now have morphed into something that's got nothing to do with Fukushima, are completely deceptive, and are not furthering the conversation. BP Earthwatch is dragging people, instead of into the conversation, away from it. And then showing them fake pictures of the tsunami instead of the actual fallout. These are not accidents. We're talking about, like, BP Earthwatch went out and raised a lot of money to go out in the community and warn people about Fukushima, but yet you go to his YouTube channel, he didn't follow up on any of it after he raised the money. All of a sudden, he stopped it and he donated. Literally, 90%, 99% of his videos are about solar system or earthquakes. Why are you wasting everybody's fucking time on that? Because you get clicks, I know, I get that. But that's got nothing to do with this Fukushima. Fukushima is not a game. We haven't got time for people like that to play these games and drag everybody away, and then once in a while come out and say, Fukushima, please donate. This is what they're doing. That's all Paul Bengali's doing. That's all BP Earthwatch and many like that are doing. They're not actually concerned. I'm going to call it like it is. I'm not going to hold my tongue for these people. I come from a place where that's not what you do. Where if you got to be flamboyant in order to get that point out there, if you got to come out and be rough on the edges, you got to come out and gut up and stand your ground, then that's what you do. If you got to go to war, that is what you do. That is what we've been doing now for 3 years. Nobody likes war. Nobody wants anything to do with the war. But you better fucking pick a side. I can assure you. You will be judged. Not only by the people left here on the planet, but by yourself and your conscience. And if there is a higher awakening, you will pay a terrible price. Because people will look at you soon as the oddball, as soon as the enemy. Soon people will look at you with contempt for what you really are doing to us. You can't continue to cover this up. You can't continue to pretend you're part of the group when you're actually doing everything against it. Today I speak strongly. Make no mistake. This is not a one-off thing for me, okay? I'm paying attention, I'm watching, I'm reading, I'm listening to everybody out there. I'm reading everything, comments included, throughout the entire internet for year after year. We've went out and done the expeditions on the ocean. We've showed the extinction event. It's not a game. We're fighting for you. Whether you care, whether you appreciate it, whether you makes a difference for you or not. In fact, how could it not? We are fighting for everybody and every species on the planet and the right to have a future for your friends, for your family, for your children. And you got just a couple of years to join in and win. You haven't got decades, you got a couple of years. You better join in. You better get educated. You better learn to fight back. Hugs for everybody. See everybody on Monday. Take care, folks.